Okay, we'll do a quick little video here. A friend of mine dropped this off. It's not exactly sure in the year, but it's probably could be a 32 or a 33 Model B motor, which is essentially a Model A motor, but with a little bit of differences. So the Model B motor or engine, I hear that's up for debate lately again. This particular one does not have a balanced crank, so that's just like a Model A, but the rods and the mains are quite a bit bigger. So these are all Model B pistons and rods, and this one here is a Model A rod and piston. But you can see the difference in size when Ford largened that up a little bit, give a little more bearing surface. So this crank here is pretty pitted. Probably could be spray welded and brought back to life, but being it's a non-balanced crank, not sure if I'm going to use that or not. I'm not even sure if I'm going to use any of this, but it's just cool. Gotta have it. I'm becoming a Model A hoarder. Got a couple main caps here. I got two rear mains for this. This one here is all boogered up. That's actually the oil drain tube. There should be a metal tube off of that that goes into the oil pan. And you can see the Babbitt. Babbitt's kind of shot, which pretty much normal. But it also came with this one, and this one's in really nice shape. So I'll probably use that. And these are the other two main caps. Pretty dainty. Not much to them. Cute. Block. Looks like someone took the time and cleaned it really good. Melted out the Babbitt that was in the mains. So that's what it would look like with no Babbitt in them. These little holes here indicate or help lock the Babbitt in when you pour it in. A couple broken bolts. Not sure why I didn't take them out. But if you remember from the Model A video, how the oil system worked, you had those little dams that were built in the lifter valley, and the oil came out this tube and filled this valley up, and the oil gravity fed into each main. Well, on a Model B motor, it's kind of pressurized. So the oil comes into this hole. You got this galley here that's sealed off with the cover. Cover's got a indentation in it. So this one here would be your center main bearing. You got the end main bearing and your end cam bearing. And then the same on this side, main bearing, cam bearing, and there's a hole in the front that shoots oil into the gear for the cam gear. So that's how that works. Essentially the motor is the same as an A except for the oiling system. B's usually have a mechanical fuel pump because in 1932 Ford moved the fuel tank from the cowl to the back of the car. The decks on these are a little bit thinner. These are kind of prone for cracking up on top and cracking in the mains. But they got the advantages of the better oiling system, the better crank. And there's the oil pan. So like I said, I don't have a use for it. I'm probably going to use the oil pan. I might use that right away because that looks better than my Model B oil pan. But the rest of it will just go on the shelf, and we'll see if we can't accumulate parts for it. What else we got going on? This guy here, I think the last video I put up was this running around. Seems to be running really good. It's got really good power, good pickup, especially with the dual carbs. Sometimes that doesn't always work on a stock motor. They get kind of overfueled. But so far I got this one. I got, what were they, 3.5 power valves in them. So that should help, hopefully. And it seems to. Doesn't want to flood out right away. The jets are basically standard, and that doesn't seem to be affecting it. So everything's working good that way. The only thing I gotta worry about, and it's not really a worry, these throttle shafts are kind of wore out, and that's what operates the accelerator pump. And I knew that, but that's all I have laying around. And the way the world is right now, you really can't order nothing because no one's mailing anything. At least not for this stuff. So it'll work. Maybe over the summer, I'll get some better shafts and we'll swap them out, but that's real easy. Piece of cake. Water pump leaks a little bit, but that's typical. Other than that, though, she is really good. Everything's put back together inside the car. Got the steering wheel on, had to shim it. But owner came up, he drove it around a little bit in the alley. Would have loved to take it on the road, but no plates, no insurance. And again, you know, we don't want to provoke the cops anyway. We want, like we should be not doing at this time. So I didn't want to drive it on the road. But that'll come soon. Actually, when he drives it home. But he doesn't live that far from here. And then this one over here, I did get this thing fired up. Cam's broke in, changed oil filter. Runs out really good. The only thing that doesn't work is the power steering. That particular power steering box came with the frame. And I have no idea if that was good or not. It is a new power steering pump or reman. So I'm assuming that's good. Not necessarily, but I'm assuming. But I would imagine that box is probably messed up. So I got Plan B getting cleaned right now. That came off an S10 that we actually drove. So I know that box is good. Got my wheel spacers on. So now it sits more normal in the front. Not using those tires and wheels. Those are ugly. And that's about it on this truck. Everything functioned. Other than the wipers. I got to see why the wipers aren't working. Probably a wire or bad ground. Brakes are good. Goes back and forth. Didn't drive it because it wouldn't steer. Fan worked. Kept it at 180 the whole time I was doing a cam. And I kept it, you know, between 1500 and 1800. And varying the RPMs for about a half hour, you know. But, yeah. That's what I got going on. So, I'm going to put that stuff away. Because I'm sick of tripping over it. And it's only been here a day. And I'll probably putz on this a little bit, and hopefully this will go bye-bye this week. And if everything goes well, this will be gone by the weekend. And it'll be a whole new batch of stuff in here. So, stay tuned.